This is Wilson Morales talking to Taylour Paige regarding her role in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Obviously, the movie's coming out pretty soon on Netflix. You're one of two females in the movie based on the play. How did this role come about for you?
I auditioned for it, and when these people call, Viola, George, C. Wolfe, Denzel, Chadwick, Michael Potts, Glenn Turman, Coleman Domingo, you pick up the phone. Not, I mean, it's symbolic. They didn't actually pick up. They didn't actually call me, but you see their names, and it's like, okay. I mean, it's August Wilson, so I'm gonna go for it. I didn't think I would get that far, but I just asked that the spirit of it all come, whatever I'm supposed to know. I hope to lend myself to the truth of this story and of our people, and if it's supposed to be, it will. And so here we are.
Mhm. Now, had you seen a production of this performance before?
I haven't seen it.
Mhm,
No, I read the play, of course, but I never got to see it.
mhm. And so, in working with George, and not having seen the production, what was his interpretation of how he wanted you to play the role?
George was, I think we were both very clear about who she was. You know, Dusty kind of processes her situation by finding, I found that there's an innate sense of youth and play there, but it's also like really survival. It's really like, I'm not going back. I'm not going back there. I don't know where we're going, but like if I just swing my hips properly, I'm gonna play my cards right and see what situation seems best. All I know is I need an opportunity to not have to go back. And so I think, at the end, I'm not giving anything away, but like I played it very much like I was mourning the dreams of so many people that we've never really heard from, the unsung ancestors that had dreams and goals and thought you know thought that maybe one day things could be better and never really got to scratch that. Obviously the ending is very ambiguous, but that's
Mhm.
kind of how I internalized it. And but George, doesn't let anything go missing. He's all about the minutia, every detail. Where did they come from? What time of day it is? How hot is it? Like what were they eating? Like what do you think her family was like? We did all of that. So by the time we filmed it, I very much felt like I knew who Desi was.
Mhm. Now, your role, you're playing opposite Viola Davis. And I'm not sure if this is the first time you've had that sort of relationship within an August Wilson play. The
Mhm.
relationship between Viola and your character. How was it working with her? And, were you aware of that relationship?
Yeah, well, I read it, so yeah, but I I think I just thought of it as, they all want love. They all want to feel seen. They all want to feel worthy. They all are kind of auditioning to be valued,
Mhm.
even though you can audition all you want, but there's nothing in this world that will ever really give you the value that you're searching for, because it doesn't come from something outside of yourself. But as a Black person, as a Black queer person, it's even more sensitive and even more like just kind of constantly auditioning for your your right to be there, your right to speak up, your right to love who we want to love. And I just played it like we all want to be loved. We all want to feel like there's someone in this world we can that will hold our hand and make us feel a little bit less alone. So I just thought of it. That's kind of where I went, and Viola is very much willing and present. And we just, it was like, it was just, we were both accessible to like these two people and their desperation, and they're deeply wounded, but they internalize it in one way, and then they assert themselves in another way.
Mhm.
Right.
Then there's Chadwick. Obviously, you just mentioned your character is searching for love, and she'll take love wherever it's coming from. There's,
Yes.
Ma, and then there's Levee, and the chemistry between you and Chadwick was there. Obviously, if the play had gone longer, we see how far did these characters go. You know,
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're working on a play, there's a close relationship between the cast because it's technically small in a play. So
Right.
how was it working? Being that most of your scenes are either with Viola, but a majority of your scenes is interacting with Chadwick.
I mean, it was pretty terrific. I'm very, very, very lucky and feel very humbled that I got to bask in his greatness and his presence and see him do his thing and the professional that he was, and just how he was willing to just, he was a, obviously he's an extremely important character and in this story, but that he was just, he played his piece of the puzzle the best. It was like we were all, when you're, I think George has said something like this, where when you're playing, when you're acting, you're not, we don't know that it's a film. This is our world. We exist in it. And so I just felt like because everyone was on their A game and everyone was doing what they had to do to create the atmosphere for us to believe what we were doing. So it was honest. And we all can relate to that feeling of just not knowing what's, this world is painful. To be Black and to exist is like, to constantly be gaslit, especially as a woman. To be a woman is to constantly be gaslit. So I just think, and you put yourself in the 1920s. I think about how we're in 2020 now. 10 years ago, we were just experiencing the first Black president of the United States, 2 years, right? Like 2 years before that, we had just experienced that. So if you take us back to 1920 and you think about what was going on for them in 1910 and what was going on for them in 1900, and just like slavery just ended, and in 18, like we're this heaviness, this pain, this, we're processing as we're trying to we're smiling and feel, it's all this atmosphere of survival and of feeling like, will I ever matter? So that's all woven in it. And so, all these people are very lonely.
The beauty about what's about this movie coming out is that it makes you appreciate theater because obviously there's Ma Rainey. We're gonna get One Night in Miami. There's a prom. That's out there. Do you think this will give audiences a chance not only to see, for those who haven't seen, an August Wilson performance, if they're not out of New York or if some of those shows haven't played in their region or wherever they're playing, live at, do you think this will give a brand new audience to theater whenever theater comes back?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I hope so. I think, it's so amazing that August lives on, from the great beyond, and he graduated from this classroom called life, but his words and who he continues to touch is like, it's infinite. And I'm so thankful to Denzel for it. He really cares about this, like what August gave us. He did this cycle of plays, and then he left. And now to have a medium like a Netflix where you can just click and you're with these people in these deeply intimate, sad, real experiences. Even though, Ma is a real person, but these other characters are, well, she had a band, but like some of these people are fictitious, but they're very much alive and very much real. They're very much your ancestors and my ancestors and people who never really got to reach their dreams or even know what a dream was. Their dream was just like, can I just not get killed? Can I just walk down the street without being harassed or being mistaken for some shit I didn't do? So I think obviously anything that's going to better help articulate our stories and how we feel, and you just hope that our children, our brothers, our sisters, our parents, whoever is able to watch this can just feel like seen, felt, heard, understood, not alone. And and hopefully that now we're in a level of consciousness where, because we are sitting in the house, we have all been compelled to literally stay in the house, you just hope that people are more sensitive to what they're receiving and what we're trying to say. And that this isn't new. This isn't like, whoa, some discovery. Like, this is how it's been for us. Like, welcome to the party, you know?
You did an amazing job. Obviously, we'll talk again regarding Zola, which I had the pleasure of seeing at Sundance. And
Oh, you did?
yes, I was there, great job. Obviously, there was a standing O for your performance. I've watched you since Hit the Floor. So,
Oh,
keep doing your thing. You're rising. So you've been there. I followed your career. So obviously, you got this movie to promote, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. People will get to know who you are from a larger scale. So we'll talk again down the road, and
great.
congrats
I would love that.
on your success.
Thank you so much.
Take
Peace
care.
and blessings. See you later.
Bye.